All right, y'all, we back with another reaction right here on ABP Reactions, man. And right now, Takeoff of the Migos case is kicking off, and they're saying it's taking a strange turn. Let's see what's going on. Let's get caught up.
Now, how does one of the most low-key rappers in the game end up getting murdered inside a bowling alley in front of dozens of people? And somehow the case just keeps raising more questions than answers. And how does the alleged killer get a passport, buy tickets to Mexico, secure a $1 million bond, and now has high-level legal representation? It just makes you stop and ask, how does all of that happen? All while the death of Takeoff is still being investigated. The Takeoff case just took a very strange turn, and it feels like no one is really talking about it. For those who don't know or need a refresher, November 1st, 2022, Houston, Texas, rapper Takeoff, one-third Amigos, was killed at a private event hosted by J Prince Jr., son of Rap-A-Lot Records founder J Prince. If you don't know who J Prince is, he is literally one of the most powerful and connected figures in the entire history of Houston hip-hop. His name carries serious weight in the streets and in this industry. The event was held at 810 Billers and Bowling, an upscale venue in downtown Houston, invitation only, roughly 40 to 50 people in a room. This wasn't a random club night, this was a closed private gathering. The official event wrapped up around 1 a.m., but people decided to stay. By 2:30 in the morning, the crowd had spilled onto the third floor balcony area, and that's when things went left. A dice game, money lost, tensions rising. Quavo was caught in the middle of it. Surveillance footage later showed him trying to walk away. His last words before the shots, "We don't play like that, bruh." Then gunfire. 2 weapons, 10 shell casings recovered at the scene, 9 from a 40 cal, 1 from a 9mm. Takeoff was hit twice, once in the back, once in the head. 2 other people were also shot, and the scene was chaotic. Now, I broke down this entire story in my video that I made back in March of last year. It was an investigative video that I dropped last year. I would highly recommend you check out that video, because in this video, I'm not going to go as deep as I did in that video, particularly when it comes to what happened during his death and whatnot. If you want to check out that video, link is in the description below for a complete picture. Today I want to focus on something specific. Pretty recently something came out regarding the Takeoff case, which I've definitely been up to date with, and I want to share those things with you guys. And there was something that quietly stood out here. The case is finally moving forward now, and I think it deserves another look. But there were some interesting things that I just really paid attention to, and I feel like you need to hear about them as well. But before we go there, let's actually look at what happened during the situation right after he died. Before police even arrived, a nurse who lived nearby heard the gunshots. She waited for the chaos to settle, grabbed her kit, and ran over to the bowling alley to see if she could help. A good Samaritan, right? But by the time she reached him, it was already too late. She said when she got to Takeoff, his eyes had rolled back. He was unresponsive. There was nothing she could do. He was gone before anyone could save him. By the time police arrived, 2:30 in the morning, downtown Houston, the scene was basically empty. Witnesses had already scattered, and a lot of them had left. Security was there. Nobody saw anything. Nobody.
Damn, so my question is, did J Prince Jr., all them niggas just left him there? This is Takeoff from the Migos. He gets shot. Boom. Somebody get off. Boom, 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 boom with the 49 shots. Boom, 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 boom. Everybody scatter. Boom. Once they scatter, my question is, once the smoke cleared, did they come back? Did like to check, and once they, Takeoff got shot. Who stayed? Who helped? Who was there? Or did they just leave him there?
Nobody said anything, and Takeoff was already gone. So detectives had to work with what they had, and what they had was the footage, the surveillance footage. Now, the surveillance footage placed a Patrick Xavier Clark inside that crowd, and he had a gun in his hand, and as the chaos unfolded, Clark was captured on camera firing multiple rounds in the direction where Takeoff was standing. Forensic analysis backed it up. Out of everyone there that night, Clark was the only person caught on surveillance firing in the direction that Takeoff was. After the shots, he fled on foot, briefly ducked inside the House of Blues nearby, tossed a wine bottle he had on him, then disappeared. Now here's the thing that really bothered me. There were around 30 to 50 people at this event that Takeoff was attending, this private gathering, right? So 30 plus witnesses, and Houston PD publicly begged for anyone to come forward. Almost none of them talked. And I'll be honest, that's frustrating to even think about. Someone loses their life in front of all these people, and the priority becomes not say anything.
And then another question, real quick, it just hit me right now. If I'm visiting, I remember seeing a video of Takeoff and Quavo riding around in J Prince's car that day, right? So I'm thinking, well, I'm seeing they're out there just them two. Like, from what I know, it was just them two, right? So even if this is J Prince Jr., so majority rules, this is all your homies. This is all your squad. You in your hometown. Quavo and Takeoff is there. They probably got, you know, a couple homies that live out there or something, but obviously y'all would be the majority at that dice game. It would be more of Jay Prince homies than his homies. So what made it escalate to where 2 out of town niggas, and it's like 30 of us, they said it's 50 people outside. So let's say 30 of his homies, Jay Prince Jr. homies, and it's like 5 of them, to make them say, we got to shoot this nigga. See, that's the story. What happened? How did some out of town niggas, superstar rappers, get in the middle of a twist like that over dice, over a dice game? Do that sound like it could be a setup? I don't know. That's sketchy.
Mindset in its own is kind of a tragedy. Isn't that like sad? And look, at this point, investigators had already Clark on their radar, but having a name and being able to make a case are two very different things. What they needed was simple: more leads, more evidence, and people willing to talk. But they weren't getting that. Houston PD's homicide sergeant Michael Burrow said it plainly. Over 30 people were standing outside that bowling alley, and every single one of them left without giving a statement. Every single one. Some were tracked down later, but the damage was already done. And when you sit with that, it's kind of heavy, because behind all the speculation, behind all the unanswered questions, there's a real person at the center of this. Takeoff was a son, a nephew, 1/3 of one of the most iconic rap groups in hip-hop history, Migos. Gone. Not on a tour bus, not on a stage, at a private event, surrounded by people who knew exactly what happened, and almost none of them said a word. And that's the reality of this case before it even really began. And before we move forward, let's not forget that a precious life was lost here. The quiet one, Takeoff, the one who just always stayed to himself, the guy who was always so low-key, the one who stayed out the way, he's the one who lost his life. It doesn't make any sense. Then on December 2nd, 2022, exactly...
Shut up. Stop dick sucking, nigga. The one that's so quiet, so low-key. Nigga, you don't know that nigga. Shut up.
31 days after Takeoff's death, Patrick Xavier Clark was taken into custody and charged with murder. But here's where things get interesting, right? Clark didn't stay locked up for long. He got out on a $1 million bond. And the question that never really got a clean answer was, who paid for that? Aside from being stated that a family friend and had helped secure his release, we don't know more than that. When you look at who Patrick Clark actually was, he was a local DJ, a strip club promoter, not exactly someone you'd expect to have that kind of money sitting around. And on top of that, it was reported that he operated largely in cash. So, where did $1 million come from? Nobody ever really explained this part, and the media moved on, but the question didn't go away. And the question didn't just come from us, the people. It also came from the prosecution. Early on in the case, prosecutors raised concerns that Clark wasn't being fully transparent about his finances. They believed he was downplaying what he actually had access to, and that raised a separate alarm. If this man has resources he isn't disclosing, he's a flight risk. And that concern...
Who the fuck is this? This is a different guy. This ain't the light-skinned nigga.
...wasn't just theoretical. Because here's a fact about this case that didn't get nearly enough attention. Just 2 days before his arrest, Clark had allegedly obtained a passport and then purchased tickets to Mexico 2 days before they picked him up. And this is something police made clear right after the arrest. They strongly believed Clark was preparing to flee, that he...
My niggas finna go on vacation in Cancun. Because that's not the place you want to go flee. Not the tourist destination. You're not finna go flee to where all the goddamn tourists is at after doing a murder. You gotta go deep down in the goddamn sticks, man. You can't be in Cancun and Tijuana and nigga on a run. What the fuck?
He knew what was coming and was making moves to disappear. Very interesting. And they also had the receipts to back it up. His movements had been traced, the passport, the Mexico tickets, all of it came out during his first appearance in a probable cause court hearing. Now, at the same time, his defense was pushing back, arguing that their client didn't have the means to post bond, that he simply couldn't come up with the cash. The judge didn't buy it, and bond was set at $1 million, and somehow Clark was able to secure it. Now, to be clear, this obviously doesn't mean that someone is paying a full $1 million in cash, but it still requires serious money or backing to make that happen.
Hey, man, he paying 10%, man. He probably had a fat bitch, man. Probably had a fat bitch. You know what I mean? He is a strip club owner, so he's a promoter. So he knows people who he promotes. He got friends. He might have had some money in the cut. Why y'all playing that nigga like he a broke nigga? He a DJ and a promoter. He probably had 100 bands in the cut. He probably put up some, sold some. You know what I mean? Damn, why y'all playing that nigga like that?
Now, this is where things start to get a little interesting. Very early on, Clark had a high-profile legal representation. One of his attorneys was Carl Moore, a lawyer who's worked with Rapper 6ix9ine, and notably, he's also worked very closely with the J. Prince family. Now let that context sit just for a second, because here's where it gets deeper. When Clark was released on bond, his bond conditions included a list of people he was not allowed to contact. On that list, J. Prince Jr., the son of J. Prince, the same person who hosted the event where Takeoff was killed. And not just him, any members of his family or household were listed as well. Now, nobody officially explained why those names were on there, but think about what you just heard. The alleged killer's attorney has ties to the J. Prince family. The shooting happened at an event hosted by J. Prince Jr., and when Clark gets out on bond, the court felt it was necessary to specifically bar him from contacting that same family. I'm not here to tell you what to think, but you can obviously think for yourself, right? But those are facts, and you can decide whatever you make of them. And then there's another very interesting detail that I actually went over in my video from about a year ago. A man named Jim Willis surfaced in connection with the case. He was apparently a private investigator, reportedly working for Clark's defense. And according to what came out, this private investigator was the same person who facilitated the bond. Not paid for it, facilitated it, meaning someone else's money was behind it. Willis was just the one who made it happen. So now the question shifted. It was no longer how did this guy who's accused of killing Takeoff get out? It became who actually wanted him out. Who is this Willis private investigator working for?
What's y'all thoughts on that? Who do y'all think put up the money? Who do y'all think made sure the play was done to set the bail to get him out? Let me know in the comment section.
And is it possible that this private investigator was simply a lawyer between Clark and whoever was truly funding his release? Again, I'm not telling you what to think. You can connect the dots yourself. Now, the more you look at this case, and particularly some of these things here, the more you realize that almost nothing is straightforward. Actually, it is straightforward depending on how you look at it, but at the same time, there's more questions than answers. And here is where things get really interesting, right? The J. Prince family has their own attorney. His name is Kent Schaefer, a high-profile attorney who's worked with major artists like Travis Scott. And back when those bond conditions surfaced, the ones listing J. Prince Jr. and his family as people Clark could not contact, Kent Schaefer made a public statement about this, and this is what he said. He said there was no reason for the Prince family's name to be included in those conditions. The state agreed, and they were removed. Okay, fair enough, but still doesn't explain why they were there in the first place. And now here's where this case takes a turn that I genuinely was not expecting. Now remember the attorney that I mentioned? Not Kent Schaefer, Carl Moore, who is of course Patrick Clark's attorney, the one with ties to the J. Prince family. Now this attorney actually just a few weeks ago ended up withdrawing from the case. No explanation given. He's out. Now Patrick Clark in this case also had another attorney. She was a black woman. Her name was Letitia Hollins. She was actually representing him until recently. Now 1 month ago, she was replaced. And who replaced her? Kent Schaefer.
I see what's going on. I see what's going on. Yeah. Get y'all asses the fuck up out of here. We had y'all do what we needed y'all to do. We got it from here. Good job. See you next year. Good job.
The same attorney who publicly defended the J. Prince family when their names appeared in Clark's bond conditions. The same family whose event this shooting took place at. He is now representing the man accused of pulling the trigger and killing Takeoff. And it's also worth noting how slow this case has been moving forward. This happened in November 2022. We're now in 2026, and there's still no trial. However, a trial is apparently set for November of this year. But there are no plea deals or no agreements yet. Now, according to Clark's own attorney, both sides have spent the last several years exchanging evidence.
Hey, here's a great question that just came to my head. With all this going on, eyewitnesses, everybody know the faces, the names that was there, obviously by now. Not us, but you know, the investigators. Who does it come down to? Who do you think would be suspect, not suspect, but like witness number one? They would want to take the stand on behalf of Takeoff. Look, we need you to take the stand and tell us what happened. This is your family. We need you to take this stand, sir. Do y'all think Quavo will take the stand for his family? This is over you playing dice. He got killed defending you. Damn. What do y'all think Takeoff will want him to do from the afterlife? Mama, hey, bro, take the stand, bro. No, don't take the stand, bro. You know, go get it back in blood in the streets. What do y'all think would be the? No, that's crazy. What do y'all think would be the words of Takeoff from Heaven's Gates to Quavo in this situation?
And making sure discovery is complete. And when asked whether this case will even go to trial, the response was very simple. If it's not dismissed, they're of course going to trial, which it looks like they are. And Clark during this entire time has maintained his innocence, saying he just wants to move on and live his life again. And keep in mind, he's been out on bond this entire time. And like I stated, a trial date has now been set for sometime in November 2026. It looks like early November. But here's another detail that quietly slipped through the cracks, which is a detail that I actually covered in the video that I made about this over a year ago. But not everyone has seen that video, so I'll just talk about it quickly. At some point during the case, DNA evidence was mishandled. A forensic analyst made critical errors in processing evidence connected to Takeoff's murder. Errors serious enough that there is a real possibility that DNA evidence in this case was compromised. Now, they
finna try to get this shit thrown out.
Analyst was actually fired because of this.
They finna get this shit thrown out.
No real update has been shared on what that means for the case. No clarity on whether the evidence is still intact, usable, nothing. Meanwhile, the defense has been preparing, the prosecution has been building, and the rest of us have obviously just been waiting.
Oh, we know what that mean, bro. They finna push to get this shit thrown out, man. She over here fucking up the evidence. Hold on, what y'all got? Y'all over here on bullshit. Y'all could have said this was it and it really wasn't that. Nigga, well, hold on. Oh, yeah, they done found them a little lane. They finna drive a wedge in that motherfucker. Y'all done fucked up, Houston.
4 years later, still no justice for Takeoff. When you take a step back and look at everything together, this whole thing definitely starts to raise a lot of questions. $1 million bond, paid by unknown hands, an attorney with direct ties to the family who hosted the event, names added to bond conditions, then quietly removed, in a case that has somehow dragged on for all these years with no resolution yet. And then you have the 30 plus witnesses all at the same private event, and almost every single one of them decided to stay silent. Now, I understand the culture, you know, the no snitching culture, right?
No, you don't.
Actually, I don't understand it, but I'm just trying to make a point.
Yeah, exactly.
I get that some people might think that way, but obviously in this situation, it's just like Takeoff wasn't involved in whatever went down that night. By all accounts, he didn't even want to be there. He was only there because Quavo wanted to go.
How do you know? You don't know, bruh. I hate when niggas be talking like they know the nigga, what he was thinking before he died. Nigga, you don't even know, bro. He didn't want to be there. He didn't even want to go. He was only there because of Quavo. Man, shut your ass up.
Innocent. He was caught in something that had nothing to do with him. And all those people who watched it happen and said nothing, I guess it was fear. Maybe it was loyalty. I don't really know, right? When silence like that is this consistent, that widespread, it's one of those situations that you don't see in every situation. I just feel like Takeoff deserved better. His family deserves answers. And with the trial now set for November 2026, and hopefully the person who did this can get held accountable for what they did.
All right, man. That's enough of you, brother. That's enough. All right, let me know. Let me know how y'all feel about this one. Early predictions on how y'all think this case, this trial is going to go based off, you see how long it's taking to get there. They're out there finally going to do it in November of this year. It's been about 3 years. That'll be about 3 years. And y'all see all the moving parts that have been taking place, getting these lawyers out, putting this lawyers in who are connected with these power players here. You feel me? Why? That's up, for assumption. You can assume why. You know what I'm saying? Why? Why are they using lawyers connected to that family each and every time? These lawyers was connected, this lawyer was connected. What do y'all think is really going on? Is it a cover up? Did somebody else really do it? And he took the rap? But they say they saw him on camera doing it. But what if? Nah, I ain't gonna do that. What if a nigga like, hey, here, take this nigga. Hey, get that nigga. Hey, get that nigga. Get that nigga. Get that nigga, cub. Get that nigga, cub. You know what I mean? Got off. Boo, 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 boo. I didn't really want to do it, but he told me to. What if he was pressured to do that? They say he's not like that. Everybody who knew him said he's not like that. He's a good guy. Woo! I don't know, man. I'm gonna let y'all come up with what could have possibly happened. Y'all let me know in the comment section. How do y'all think this case will go? Let me know. I'm gonna give y'all 2 seconds to smash a like, and as always, get ready for the next reaction.